I'm back. I had been talking with a friend of mine, good friend of mine, a couple of weeks ago. I was telling him about returning retro and this idea that I had about how technology has become too engulfing of every aspect of our life to the point where it's not so much a helpful tool anymore as it is an oppressive necessity. And he said to me, "Oh, that's so cool. You should do a comparison to Wall-E." And I had to sheepishly admit to him I'd never seen the movie. So I thought, okay, maybe this will work. Maybe we could do a returning retro movie analysis. So I asked my kids if they'd be interested in doing a movie night, if they'd want to watch Wall-E again, having assumed that they would have seen it. And they hadn't either. So we all sat down, we had a family movie night, and oh boy, what a treat it was. First of all, great film. If you haven't seen it, definitely recommend that you do. It was just as enjoyable for me and my wife as it was for our kids. But second of all, my goodness, the parallels to today. So in this episode, we're going to do an analysis of a few curious observations that I made comparing the film as their vision of what life would be like in the 28th century. From the very opening scene, so many parallels to where we are at actually right now in the 2020s. And it didn't take that long for these filmmakers' prophecies to come true. So let's jump right into it.
Observation 1.
The opening scene. We see the camera zoom into Earth. It's almost like it's flying on the front of a ship or something, and immediately goes through a giant field of defunct satellites. You can tell from the scene that these are obviously abandoned, obviously discarded, obviously defunct, and the film then even takes it one step further when we learn that even the Earth itself has been tossed aside. This whole idea of abandoning the old for the new, leaving behind what we have for the sake of the next big thing, is something that I felt like was very in your face in this film. Today, we can see this every year. There's the new faster, better, greater thing. There's the new phone, there's the new car, there's the new app, there's the new software, there's the new fill in the blank. And we have this tendency to discard old things in favor of new things, even when the old things are still perfectly useful. One example of this that drives me crazy right now, especially in the context of returning retro, is the old 2G and 3G cellular networks. So a number of the vintage phones, the vintage basic phones, feature phones, smartphones from those prior years don't even work anymore because the phone carriers have actually shut down the technology necessary to use them. Perfectly useful, but they've moved on to the next best thing. Similarly, on the side of the consumer, we also lean into this behavior by upgrading to the next device or the next app when the previous version was still perfectly functional. When I saw this field of, it looked like a swarm of bugs that had just been abandoned by people in favor of the next best thing, my mind immediately went to there. Now, I can't be too hard on the modern consumer because the companies take steps to make it so that we are motivated to buy the next new thing outside of just marketing hype or tricks of the trade. We've seen recently that companies will actually program in or design in what I would maybe call premature obsolescence, where when the new device comes out, they will actually, either through software or hardware meddling, make it so that the old device is less functional. So a couple of years ago, some of you may remember this, Apple got caught limiting the functionality of older iPhones in an attempt to try and motivate consumers to upgrade to the new iPhone. So in some cases, even when people are perfectly fine using their older technology or even their current technology that is still perfectly capable, the companies that are the creators of that technology will go back and limit their functionality.
Observation 2.
The mega corporation. In the film, at first I laughed because it was like, oh, here's a company that does this, that does that. For those that have seen it, this is the company By and Large. And in this film, it symbolizes the ultimate consolidation of corporate power and control. Correct me if I'm wrong, give me a note in the comments, but throughout watching this film, I don't think there is any other company on display. By and large, literally owns everything. The grocery stores, the gas stations, the banks. There's a sign saying a by and large outlet mall is coming to the moon as you see the view from like a lunar lander, which of course this resonates with modern day. Let me just give you an example. Amazon. Most everybody's familiar with Amazon, but I feel like a lot of people aren't familiar with just how many services or goods Amazon provides people. Now, I apologize. I'm going to look at my notes, but I wrote some things down just to give you a list, to give you an idea of this mega corporation, this by and large from the film that we're already seeing before our very eyes. So we have them in the retail and e-commerce space. No surprise to anyone there. They are in the consumer goods space. There are a number of Amazon basics that they have and provide for all manner of things, from household items to tech items to you name it, they provide it. There is the cloud computing side. There is the video streaming. Obviously, there's Amazon Prime Video where they show licensed out shows, but they also have their own in-house video productions. How many Amazon originals have you seen? Logistics and delivery. They're one of the biggest logistics companies in the United States. Home automation goes without saying. Books and publishing. Grocery. Amazon delivers groceries in certain areas. Also, healthcare. Amazon has a pharmacy service where you can get your prescription medicine straight through Amazon. Sound crazy? I have more artificial intelligence, their own hardware, Amazon Fire devices, Kindle devices, the tablets. Additionally, payment services, advertising, music streaming, robotics, and I could go on, but you can see what I mean. Amazon is just one example, and they're not alone, of a what I call a mega corporation where you can get all of your needs met by one company. Now, this has massive convenience factor. It is so nice to be able to just go to one website and get everything that you need. All of this convenience comes with significant individual and societal risks. There's a risk of systemic failure. If one corporation controls too much, any operational, ethical, or financial failure at that company or affecting that company could have widespread and devastating effects on those who have grown dependent on their services. If a streaming platform goes down or a social media site gets temporarily taken down for whatever reason, I just see these reactions. People don't know how to react. They don't know how to go about their day-to-day life. They have become so dependent on these technological pastimes. They use them for their entertainment. They use them for their socializing. They use them for every aspect of their lives. Sometimes we in the modern world are totally dependent on the caregiver. These people in the film were totally dependent on their caregivers, the technology. And more, I see more and more people become totally dependent on their phone, their tablet, their computer for nearly every aspect of their day-to-day life. It makes us less capable human beings. And that's obviously a problem.
Observation 3.
Convenience above all. Okay, this was one of my favorite, and when I say favorite, the funniest scenes from WALL-E, and this was one that I think really made a name for the movie, is the over-exaggerated state of the post-Earth humans. So we see these two individuals in their little hover chairs going down the corridor of the ship right next to each other, and rather than going to the effort of turning their head to the side to have a conversation with each other, they have their video screen up in front of them and are talking to each other on a video call while sitting next to each other, feet apart. They obviously did this to poke fun in the film, but I honestly found it startlingly similar to some of the things that we see today. Over-reliance on technology can keep us from seeing life and experiencing the world around us. There's another scene a little bit later in the film where a woman, WALL-E interacts with her and ends up busting her video screen. And she comes out of almost a stupor, but then looks out into this vast expanse on this giant spaceship that they all live on. And she makes a comment, I didn't know that we have a pool, when the pool is the size of a lake. We become so engrossed in our digital life that we fail to see real life all around us. Now, at the end of the film, it becomes the humans versus the technology. The humans that are trying to fight their way out of this state of complete and utter dependence. They decide, we're going home, we're going back, and they have to fight the technology in order to do it. This is really what Returning Retro is all about. Us putting in the effort to become more deliberate in our tech use and less dependent on it. And it does take effort. I'm in the middle of this journey myself. But like in the film, they had to put in the effort, but at the close, it becomes obvious that it's worth it. And I guess that is the core of my message through Returning Retro, that I think that it is worth it. I think that us proactively becoming more capable humans in the end is better. Convenience, while sometimes is helpful, I don't think that it should be the pinnacle of our aspirations. Some exciting things are coming for the channel. I have some more videos where I'm going to talk about my journey so far returning retro. I have some interviews that I am going to be doing, or maybe not even necessarily interviews, more of conversations with some very interesting people that will be happening very soon. I'm excited for you to see those. So in the meantime, please, if you have any input, leave a comment below, subscribe, give it a like, share it, and I appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one.